Never miss an episode of the Final Furlong podcast. Subscribe now on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And now, here's your host, Emmet Kennedy.
Welcome to the latest Cheltenham Festival special. We'd had a lot of fun with this show last year. Hopefully it'll be a good segment again. It's the Yes No Game Show, Cheltenham Championship Favourites Edition. We've got Adam Mills, Lizzie Kelly, Jaime, Wrenn and Barry Doyle alongside us. We'll begin with the feature race on day one, the Champion Hurdle, where the New Line is the favourite at 9-4 with 1xbet. But the question is, Adam Mills, yes or no? The New Line for the Champion Hurdle?
No.
Lizzie?
Yes.
Jaime?
100% yes.
Barry?
Definite no.
It's a yes from me, but only because it's a horrible race. What's your reasoning, Adam?
Well, look, I love the New Line. When we did this show last year, I was all over him. But my reason for saying no is, firstly, his price is not going to get any shorter than it is now. There's no way it gets shorter. Secondly, if Lossiemouth comes into the race, he definitely drifts. I think he'll be third favourite if we knew Lossiemouth was going to run. I don't like his jumping. I don't know what's gone wrong, because last year he was the best jumping novice I'd seen, and now I don't think he would have won the Fighting Fifth. I think Golden Ace would have done him. He looked to me like he was leaning left and something was wrong. And then the last day, I know the race fell apart with what happened to Sergino, but I mean, he was absolutely flat to the boards to beat Brentford Hope and Nemean Lion. Nemean Lion is so slow they're taking him out of the Champion Hurdle, and I don't think anyone thinks Brentford Hope has got a hope in hell of winning it. So yeah, I don't see at that point. I think he's almost favourite by default because everything else has gone wrong. State Man's been injured out for the season. Lossiemouth has blotted her copybook. We've lost Sergino. Constitution Hill is, well, God knows. And for that reason, the New Line just ended up as favourite. But actually, if you'd said, well, the favourite for the Champion Hurdle will fall in the Fighting Fifth and then will beat Brentford Hope by just about a length in the International, I think most people would find that as a reason to oppose him. He may come back and maybe he'll be better in a better race, but I would want to oppose him for this.
Well, this time a year ago, people were bashing Constitution Hill for beating Brentford Hope by, 3 lengths in the Beulah Hurdle. And now some of those same people want to go, oh, no, but the New Line, a fantastic bet. Lizzie, you say yes. Why?
Sort of for all the same reasons that Adam said no. It's not a great race. And I think that he can definitely benefit from the fact that quite a few of these aren't really at their best, and I'm not getting into where Lossiemouth is going to be going on what day she's going to be running, but if she's not in this race, I think the New Lion is going to be the beneficiary of the fact that this race seems to be pretty weak.
I would agree. He's a 7-year-old. He's only had 6 starts over hurdles. It's pretty ambitious to know exactly what he is at the moment. Having said that, he's a full brother to Katira, and she bounces between 2 miles and 3 miles, and you could say her best trips are 2 mile 5. He's got a staying half brother who won 4 staying chases over 3 miles. There's a younger brother who's probably a 2.5 mile handicap chaser as well. Like, what exactly this horse is, I'm not sure, but for the reasons that Lizzie has given, I am with him, Barry. Not necessarily backing him, but certainly from the point of view of yes, that he can win the race, because, well, it's a bad Champion Hurdle, quite frankly.
You say that, like, I think the 2 Irish mares, I definitely, I suppose you're talking about Lossiemouth running in the race. I mean, we're not running our bet at the moment. Mm-hmm. Looking at our Cheltenham record, I'm like a broken record about Lossiemouth running in the Champion Hurdle, because I've been waiting for it for definitely 2 years. But
17 years you've been waiting now for Lossiemouth to run the Champion Hurdle. One of these days they're going to do it.
Could be waiting 27. I think 4-1 in the non-runner of bet. Looking at non-runner of bet at the moment, that's. I suppose you're asking me about the New Lion and would I oppose him at his price? Definitely. And I suppose if you're looking at the championship races, that's what we're covering on this show. I mean, he was the one that I thought was ridiculously short at 9-4. Adam covered lots of my reasons. I suppose that Turner's Novices Hurdle at the festival last season, the form, I didn't think it at the time. And funny enough, I had Noel Moore on the Champ of the podcast earlier on in the year, and he was talking about it being potentially one of the hottest Turners ever run. Hasn't worked out that way. Final Demand, obviously, he's disappointed last time. Can he recover? That's still there. It'd be interesting to see what happens there. The Yellow Clay, we're looking at him potentially running in the Coral Cup this season, and 40 Coats was back and forth, albeit The front three pulled a nice bit clear, but he's not from 6 over hurdles and has been beaten. He can't break his maiden. So the actual turner's form would be a worry. I think looking at the new Lion in terms of his jumping effort this season, he threatened to run out, didn't he, up in the fight in 5th. They're riding him. I mean, 2 miles is a question mark for me. I think probably the right race for him would be 2.5 miles on a little bit of nicer ground at Aintree. But, you know, the race is here. Lizzie's right. I mean, it doesn't look the strongest champion hurdle ever that's going to be run. But I'd be with, you know, I suppose looking at ratings, I mean, he's rated 159 now at the new Lion. And we're looking at the 2 mares. One is rated 160, the other one's rated, 159. So I have to be honest about it. I'd probably be more interested, believe it or not, from a Lossiemouth perspective, taking on the new Lion and Brighter Days Ahead over 2 miles in a fast run champion hurdle than actually 2 miles, 4 furlongs against Woodhoo on the new course. That's the crucial thing about the mare's hurdle this year. It's on the new course. She's really improving Woodhoo. And what's a better option? You're taking on Brighter Days Ahead, who's not from 2 at Cheltenham over 2 miles, and the new Lion, who's rated 159. I think it's a no-brainer. Go for the champion hurdle. She's 4-1, non-runner, no bet. We know her Cheltenham record, and I don't think she acted maybe last time. She didn't seem to be on a going day, Lossiemouth. But I just think either of the mares, I would take on Brighter Days Ahead, getting £7. He doesn't look well treated on race conditions. Looking at that.
Okay, Jamie Wrenn, yes or no, the new Lion?
It's exactly what Lizzie's saying, Emmet. It's by default now with the new Lion. Brighter Days Ahead, would you put your hand in your heart that won the champion hurdle after what happened last year? Even though King Kingsfield went straight out in front, she couldn't keep the gallop. She couldn't get up. She was legless last year in the champion hurdle. People forget that. Legless.
But she had an issue, Jamie, didn't she? She had an issue.
Legless. I don't care your answer. She was legless. Last time I was going to go to the mares. Constitutional, like, I think, look, I put it this way, not being smart. My prescription in Specsavers is -8 or 9. Like, I could jump a hurdle better than Constitutional Hill. Golden Ace only wins races by default. If Pointer Ross wins the champion hurdle, I literally give up gambling. Alexei could barely beat Rubo on soft ground in the Kingwell the weekend. Then you're on to Enzem, who doesn't know how to be a racehorse. Cashdale has a handicap. Wilford's a handicap. Lucky Place, Burkhead, right? So, to me, as what we were saying all along, if Willie Mullins wakes up and smells the coffee, the only danger to the new Lion is Ballyburn. So, 20-1, Ballyburn is the bet, in my opinion, at the moment in the race. And stop shaking your head, Kopek, to certainty up the top of the screen, Adam Mills. So it's that bad of a champion hurdle. So it's by default, the new Lion's going to win. I keep repeating on the show. It's my first Ante-Post bet last year after I won the Turner. And I disagree with you, Barry, because the Yellow Clay is probably going to win the Carling Cup, and Final Demand will probably still win the Browns, because I wouldn't give up on Final Demand over that race at the DRF. Forget about that. Maybe so. Don't give up on Amsterdam. Don't give up on Amsterdam. I'm very successful. I'm from Kerry or from Carlo. Relax. But anyway, don't give up on Amsterdam. But no, all jokes aside, Amsterdam, if he actually became a racehorse, he'd definitely be very interesting here. But no, I think the new Lion, just by default, and I agree totally what Lizzie said at the start. It's that bad. He's going to win.
Yeah, I started this morning going, I can't wait to take on the new Lion, and I ended the day by going, he's going to win this, isn't he? He's just had the 6 starts. He's just had the 6 starts. He's won 5 of them. He's a Cheltenham Festival winner. Like he'll come out on top. You could argue that Golden Ace's form has taken a further enhancement after Rubo gave Alexi a bit of a fright at the weekend. She beat him pretty comfortably in the Christmas hurdle at Kempton, and she doesn't have to face Sergino. So don't like the fact that she's missed her prep run, but is it another champion hurdle where Lizzie Kelly on TalkSport is going, what just happened? What just happened? What just happened? Final. I still need an Ultimate winner this year. Will you come back riding so I can get an Ultimate winner? Since that was a good winner I had at the Ultimate 2 stars ago. Please come back riding, please. Can we get you back over the fences?
You'll have to get me an Ozempic. An Ozempic jab, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that's a fishing for compliments line there from Lizzie Kelly, and it ain't going to work against these lads, let me tell you. Final thoughts. If you're with the new Lion, fine. Who would you consider the big danger? If you're against him, who would you back currently? Adam Mills.
I haven't had a bet yet in the race. I will probably back Golden Ace each way, which is filth, because really it's a silly bet, really, because really, if it was win only, she'd be 25s. But actually, when you go through it, you think, well, she's going to run a race, she can jump, she'll get round Cheltenham. It's very hard to see her not finishing in the first three. I don't think she's good enough if the others run their race. As much as I admire Golden Ace, I do think there's a hole. But I looked at that fighting fifth. She's getting to the new line. She's not beaten by any means at the point he comes out. And there's a massive differential in their price. So Golden Ace will be one. But I will forgive Brighter Days Ahead entirely. And I think if the new line had gone to Leopardstown and beaten Lossiemouth, we'd all be creaming over this 4-7 shot. And Brighter Days Ahead did it pretty easily. And they've campaigned her completely differently this time. They've been riding her differently. I think Gordon's got to be trusted. Brighter Days Ahead should be a clear favourite in my view. She isn't with some firms.
Well, the adjusted time form figure was 175 for the Irish Champion Hurdle, which is basically the same she got for when she battered State Man. So if she comes forward from that run and can take that Leopardstown form to Cheltenham, then major contender. And it's a really bold decision to be going back to the Champion Hurdle, given what happened last year. You don't want that egg on your face again. So you'd have to think that they feel like she's right, and she's the right age profile for the race too. So yeah, she's a major player as well. I can't decide between the two of them. So for the purposes of yes or no, the new line, I will say yes, because I wouldn't want to rule anything out in a horrible race like this. Lizzie Kelly, who is your alternative to the new line, shall we say?
I actually also agree with Adam that Golden Ace is a bit of an obvious option, just because she is very solid, and I feel like she's got the least amount of question marks attached to her name. Obviously, we know that she has her limitations in terms of her ability, but she seems to be, touch wood, a very lucky horse, and I think she'll still run her race, very much so.
Some crack if she gets thumped by Katira at the start of the season, by the New Line's brother, and then she beats the New Line in the Champion Hurdle. This is a funny old game, how the whole thing works. Barry Doyle. I mean, obviously the smoke signals are out for you for Willie Mullins to run Lossiemouth. You're desperate that they finally do it. Richie Rich, do the right thing, run Lossiemouth. It's not going to happen, I don't think. Alternative to the favourite.
Well, Rich likes a penalty kick. Maybe Gaelic Warrior is the penalty kick, maybe in the Ryanair Chase. Maybe you might let Ross...
Hold up. We'll come to that. It's a whole other topic.
No, Lossiemouth, I think, look, 4-1 non-runner bet would be of interest. There's only £1 between the two mares. I thought she had Brighter Days Ahead well held at Christmas. I thought she confirmed the form. I just don't think she was on a going day on that ground. You must remember the physical. Lossiemouth is a much slighter mare than Brighter Days Ahead. Even though Brighter Days Ahead had some decent form on nicer ground, of course, at Leopardstown. Her career best had been at Leopardstown on nicer ground. She is built for the mud. Lossiemouth won a mare's hurdle on really deep ground, but she probably had about 2 stone in hand on that occasion. So I just think Lossiemouth on a little bit of nicer ground. She won a triumph on the new course over 2 miles. The international hurdle, I think, is on the new course as well. So she's forming the new course over 2 miles. It's getting £7. I mean, she's £7 well in with the new line if she turns up here. That for me looks. I wouldn't give up on Amsterdam though. To be fair, I think an educational ride last time. To be fair, he was very, very free at Christmas. Settled a lot better. He's a brilliant jumper, Amsterdam. And if there's a lot of pace on early, I mean, how would you like Lossiemouth or Brighter Days Ahead to be ridden? Probably up there on the pace. I'd imagine if both of them run, it's going to be a really strong run Champion Hurdle. And he could just arrive on the scene at a massive price. I mean, he's 20-1. He shouldn't be 20-1 Amsterdam. I think he's what is there, £4 between Amsterdam and the new line? Yeah. If we're looking at him at 9-4 and he's the benchmark, there's definitely more to come from Amsterdam. I wouldn't totally give up on him. But Lossiemouth, please run her. If she does run 4-1, looks great value to me, given her Cheltenham record.
Jamie, final thoughts?
How do you mean final thoughts? No, you said the new line and you
want
an
alternative to the new line.
How many weeks ago now have we been talking about the alternative? Willie Mullins wakes up and put Ballyburn in the Champion.
Yeah. Game over. Just do it, Willie. Do it.
Just do it. Put him out in front of the champion Earl.
A little bit
Ballybyrne
worried.
doesn't know what he is.
I'm a little bit worried.
I know he does. I agree with you, Barry. Totally agree with you. He doesn't know what he is. But like to say, I saw the interview last day. Paul Townend saying, I don't know if he doesn't stay 3 miles. He's probably an ancient hurdle horse. We all know that, right? But he should be up in front of the champion hurdle. Catch me if you can. He'd have won the Supreme Deer. Slade Steele won it. We all know that. So put him in the champion hurdle.
Isn't he officially the second highest rated horse in the race?
Correct.
Constitution Hill being the highest.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice, by the way, no love for Constitution Hill from anybody?
Nope.
This notion that he can be a flat, and we spoke to Nicky Henderson on the podcast last week. Love Nicky Henderson. The man's an absolute legend. Listen to that episode. It's available on all good podcast apps, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Show did really well over the weekend. Thank you for supporting us. Listen to what he says. Really listen. Does that sound like a man who wants to run that horse in the champion hurdle to you? Because it sounded to me like he was in the torture chamber. He's absolutely convinced the horse is still the same talent that he was 2 years ago. But can you trust him over hurdles? And if they can't even get him into the flat race that they put on specially for him, then how's he going to be a flat race horse? My goodness, what an absolute... The state of racing, it's absolutely spectacular. Speaking of the wonderful world of horse racing, we were at Punchestown yesterday for the OneXBet Grand National Trial, and it was a fantastic, fantastic day. Thanks to everybody at Punchestown. Got to meet so many listeners to the show as well, which was fantastic as well, including winners who enjoyed really nice hospitality. There'll be more opportunities for you to win race day tickets to the Curragh, Punchestown, and other places as well. If you listen to the Final Furlong podcast coming your way very, very soon, you have to be a subscriber to the Final Furlong podcast on YouTube to enter those. So you may as well hit the subscribe button now. And OneXBet have over 7,000 events for you to get stuck into every single day on their website. You can click the link in the episode description. It'll take you right to the OneXBet website in Ireland, including all of the Ante-Post betting for the Cheltenham Festival, which of course we're talking about now. New customer sign-up offers, fast withdrawals. It's all there for you. 18 plus, terms and conditions apply. Gamble responsibly. Your game, your odds, your OneXBet. Click the link in the episode description. It will take you right to the OneXBet website. Let's switch to the Stayers Hurdle, shall we? The only question is, where is the horse whose record in the Stayers Hurdle is third, first, and second going to finish this time around? Are you with Teahupoo at 13-8 with OneXBet Ireland, Adam Mills? Yes or no?
No.
Lizzie Kelly?
No
fence sitting.
I've literally got a question mark on my notes. I'm going to say yes.
Barry?
But somewhat reluctantly.
Okay. Barry?
No.
Jamie?
No.
Yes. Obviously it's yes. Adam Mills, your thoughts on Teahupoo?
It's just a price thing. I just think he's too short. This isn't... There are lots of dangers in here. There's lots of reasons to oppose him. I think Marchand 2 is really improving. I think Ante-Post will be much better in March than he was in the Cleve, and his form with Honesty Policy from the long walk looks really good. I can just find reasons. I mean, like last year, he got done by Bob Ollinger. You know, he didn't get done by big bucks. He got done by Bob Ollinger. And I know Bob's got a really good record at Cheltenham, but Bob Ollinger made him look pretty ordinary, even on soft ground. I just think if Teahupoo was sort of 7-2, 4-1, yep, I could absolutely see that as a bet. But I just think he's way too short here. He was really impressive last time. He was. But he beat Ballyburn, and I think Ballyburn's useless. So I can't really say 13-8 is
come here now. Bit of Michael Healy right there. No.
You should take that back.
No, just I don't.
He's not useless.
No, fine. He's not useless, but I don't look at Ballyburn and think, wow.
Yeah, but you said I'm going to take you on. How are you saying he's useless? He should have beaten Teahupoo in Hatton's Grace.
Yeah, but he didn't.
Should. No, I know there should.
And then he was further and further behind it. It's just that I just don't really see it. I think Teahupoo was really impressive in a really weak race. And I just look at him and think I could get you beat at 13-8. And, you know, he's got every chance. Of course he has. He's got a brilliant record. He's won the race before. He probably should have 2 of these on his CV because I think Davy Russell was, you know. It wasn't Davy's finest hour. But I do look at this and just think I could see Marchand 2 rolling in front, really turning this into a nice big test. Ante-Post is going to stay forever. Honesty Policy looks like it'll improve. There is definitely a case here for taking on Teahupoo, and I'll just accept my fate if he wins at 13-8. but he's just way too short, having been beaten twice in the race.
You're wrong. Lizzie Kelly?
Well, it might be.
I feel like he's in really good form, and I sort of feel like that this is a really interesting race. He's obviously getting on. He's now 9, and there are loads of horses in here that are interesting. Like I really like Cabral de Mathan, but I slightly feel like he would sort of be my pick otherwise. I think he's a very good horse. I'm not entirely sure the Stayers is the right race for him, just by the way that he travelled almost like too well at Cheltenham last time, and almost like put himself in the race quite a lot unnecessarily. But I kind of think he might get away with it if Harry Skelton does like a sort of real Harry Skelton handicap type ride where he, you barely see him all the race because you can't find him. He's like smuggled these horses into positions. But yeah, I kind of Teahupoo is almost like the horse the type of horse I always go against, but usually regret it. So perhaps I'm almost judging it off my own my own failings. But I do think he's sort of been there and done that. My only concern would be that he's just beginning to decline maybe, but I felt like we didn't see that last time. I feel like he's still holding his form.
Yeah, that's what I think. I was very prepared to take him on at the beginning of the season. Really prepared to. I thought he'd win the Hatton's Grace and then it would spiral and something was going to emerge. I haven't seen anything emerge, and I don't think he is declining. And there used to be a thing in this race where you didn't want to be with a horse who was over the age of 9 in this. Well, 2 of the last 3 winners were 10 and 11. So that's completely changed. Gordon Elliott's record in the race, 2003, first and third. 2024 wins with Teahupoo. Last year, first and third. Like, he's got the key to this race now. He knows exactly what it is to win it. Honesty Policy is interesting, but I was really disappointed by Ante-Post. I know Nicky was telling me to keep the faith and the better ground, and you don't have to give away the £7 penalty the next day, that they can turn it around. But Machantou is impressive, but he's going to have to. All of these horses need to get to Teahupoo's level, and I'm not sure they can. And Bob Ollinger, unbeaten at Cheltenham, given an unbelievable ride by Rachel Blackmore last year. An unbelievable ride. That ain't happening again. There's no Rachel Blackmore now. Darrow keeps a great jockey, but there's no Rachel Blackmore. And Jack Kennedy seems to be adamant that they shouldn't have been beaten. So, Teahupoo back in the winner's enclosure. I think he's an absolute certainty. Barry Doyle.
He's nearly won $1 million in prize money. He's 14 wins from 23 starts, is it? Yeah. I suppose that Adam kind of touched on it there. Would I rather back Teahupoo at 13-8 or the field at 8-13? Probably go at the field. There's a couple I like in here. I mean, you mentioned Bob Ollinger. Like, I mean, he's campaigned with one day in mind. It was, it was really encouraging run the last day on good yielding ground. He's 4 from 4 at Cheltenham, Bob Ollinger. Honesty Policy, really interesting runner, 6 years of age. I mean, if Gordon doesn't win the Stayers hurdle, let's say he'll be disappointed because he's 2 real, live bullets. Yeah. Honesty Policy, I was a massive fan of this horse last season, and really was a real improver, wasn't he? The 6-year-old son of Jukebox Jury. He improved a total of £24. Thought it was a good run last time, but we've only seen him once this season. Would he be better on a little bit of nicer ground? He probably wants nicer ground, whereas Teahupoo, ideally, albeit he did put the theory to bed a little bit that he can act on nice ground when winning a couple of times. I think at Punchestown, and obviously he was good to yielding ground at Leopardstown last time. So I don't think the ground is as important to Teahupoo as a lot of people say. But Honesty Policy, I think ideal conditions, he'd want spring ground. Teahupoo, I think to be seen to best effect, maybe a little bit of softer ground. I'm a massive fan of Machantou. 3 wins at Cheltenham this season, a real improver. Shades of Paisley Park. They don't have a reason for why he was beaten at Haydock. That would be maybe a small bit of a concern. But what I loved about Machantou last time was was actually 50 yards to the line. I mean, the race was already won, but the way he just opened up under the hands of Ben Jones last time. I know he was getting £7 off Ante-Post. And I like you, Emmet. I think that's another horse that you wouldn't give up on if the ground was nice. And Cabral de Matan, were they maybe flirting with entry with him? We didn't see him last time. I don't know, has Dan Skelton confirmed he's going to the race? But you have a lot running you have a lot running for you, I suppose, taking on Teahupoo at that sort of price than a horse that has only won 1-4 at Cheltenham. I mean, his Cheltenham record, would that be in any way a concern? I know he's run well in defeat, but he's only won once from 4 starts there.
Okay, Jamie, land the plane.
I don't think I'll ever forgive him, Emmet, for the first year with Davy Russell. I won't. No. Cider Burley winning a Stairs Hurdle. I know I backed Cider Burley to win 2 Thames finals, but come on. Come on. Look, beaten by Bob Ollinger.
What about the mighty Dashel Drasher? How dare you? The mighty Dashel Drasher as well.
That's nearly as bad when I backed Nicholas Kenyon beating that Neil King horse, whatever his name is. But, Bob won last year because of the ground. And there's no doubt about that, right? Look, exactly. I totally agree with Barry saying it was a great run behind Teahupoo Christmas. There's no doubt about that. And his Cheltenham record is there for to be seen, but it should be 3 from 4 because we're going into the Gallopin now thing. I think, to be honest, it's between the 2 McManus horses. I think all year this year, and this is why I'm coming down. Look, I'm with Adam all year with Impose Etoile. I think the £7 is going to be a massive difference to Mash and to definitely there's going to be a reversal of form there. That's just my opinion. But what I'm coming down on is honesty policy, because to be honest with you, I think Jasmine DeVoe would be cast iron good thing for this if he stayed sound. I thought he was a great winner of the Albert Barton last year for horse that Willie Munns was telling one, fooling everyone last year that he couldn't jump. He won a bumper to a 3-time Grade 1 chase winner in Romeo Coolio. So honesty policy nearly got them at Punchestown last year. Yeah. I think the further they go, if they get into the trenches in the Stairs Hurdle and they're all there, I think honesty policy will just kick away from the whole of them, especially the good run he behind Impose Etoile and strong leader at Ascot. But to be honest with you, long story short, I think it's between the 2 McManus horses, Impose Etoile and honesty policy. Yeah, I really do. That Grade 1 in Ascot was the best stairs race of the whole year, I think. That's just me.
Well, I would be absolutely delighted with that because that means the 20-1 Ante-Post is still alive. But he's a 14-1 shot. Having been down to 5s and heading towards 4-1, I'm just not so sure he can bounce back. But listen, if he can, happy days. I'll be absolutely delighted if he does. We're going to switch to the Chasers next. Before we do, and we talk about Majborough and whether he's an absolute good thing for the Queen Mother Champion Chase. This episode is brought to you by 1xBet. If you're betting in Ireland, you can click the link in the episode description. It'll take you right to a website that will offer you betting markets for 7,000 events every single day. The official betting partner of European champions Paris Saint-Germain and of Barcelona FC. And of course, Punchestown Racecourse for the 1xBet Grand National Trial, won yesterday by Barry Connell. Really smart horse for Emmett Mullins, won the Beginner's Chase as well in Soldier Milan. A good winner for the podcast too. Loads of new customer specials, fast withdrawals. You can sign up now by clicking the link in the episode description. It'll take you right to the 1xBet website in Ireland. 18 plus, terms and conditions apply. Gamble responsibly. 1xBet knows the crack. Bet with your head, not above it. A fascinating running of the Queen Mother Champion Chase with the defending champion Majborough. The defending champion Marie Nationale. Maybe it'll be the defending champion Majborough in a year's time. Defending champion Marie Nationale needs to turn around the form from the DRF by 19 lengths. But there may very well be mitigating circumstances for that. So the question becomes, with the current 7-4 favourite with 1xBet Majborough, for or against, yes or no Majborough in the Queen Mother Champion Chase, Adam Mills?
Yes.
Lizzie Kelly?
No.
Barry Doyle?
Machine, yes.
Jamie Wrenn?
Yes.
No. Adam, why yes?
Because the only thing that can beat Majborough is Majborough himself. And I think they've just turned him around completely. That performance at the DRF has completely swayed me the other way. I think kick pieces on, aggressive ride, get him into a rhythm. Tom Segale said the other day about Marie Nationale, and his record is actually only 3 for 9 over fences. Mm-hmm. And in 2 of those races, his main rival fell. El Fabiolo and Calixios both came down when they were still in contention. Marie Nationale would probably have still won those races. But I think there are holes in him. And 19 lengths from a younger horse, that's a massive turnaround. Look, it'll look stupid because Majborough will absolutely belt a fence at some point, and he'll probably throw it out. But I have to assume that Majborough is capable of repeating the DRF performance. And if he does, I don't think they'll get anywhere near him. I think he's in a different league to the rest of these 2 milers.
Lizzie Kelly says no. Why?
I don't like him. And I think that he was flattered with the ground. It has to be said that he definitely improved. I definitely agree with that. But yeah, that I feel like, exactly like you said, the horse that can get him beat is himself. And I just feel like under pressure, he doesn't hold up. And I suppose it's a slight bias because I just don't really like him. The way he goes, like the way he jumps, and it's all just like a bit of a mess sometimes. And I just feel at Cheltenham in March that you just can't, any chink in your armour is such a negative. And I just wouldn't trust him.
You've ridden Rocket Willie Mullins. You've obviously won races at the Cheltenham Festival. You're the first woman to win a Grade 1 over fences. Have you been up close to Majborough?
No, I haven't. No, I've never seen him in the flesh.
So when you look at him on camera, when you're commentating on him for TalkSport, when you're watching him for Racing TV for analysis on this show, what is it about him that you just makes you very nervous, that you don't like about him?
His head carriage. I feel like he's very awkward, and I feel like Mark Walsh had a point to prove at DRF, and I feel like he rode out of his skin that week, and I think that made a big difference. Now, don't get me wrong, like he's going to try to replicate what he did again, obviously, but I just feel like it was sort of one of those things where the stars aligned for that race. I feel like he's very straight backed, and there's not a lot of like movement, which makes him quite one dimensional in the way that he jumps, I think. Obviously it was all a bit easier when everything was a bit slower at Leopardstown when on that ground.
Yeah, I just don't think it's going to be the same setup for him at all at Cheltenham. And we saw him as a wide margin winner of the Irish Arkle a year ago, and then he disappoints in the Arkle itself. We've had 3 odds-on favourites win the Arkle in the last 10 years. However, we've also had favourites beaten at 4-6, 2-9, 2-5, 8-13, 5-6, 2-9, and 5-6. So at 7-4, Barry Doyle, I will say no, but you say yes.
Yeah, it's funny. I think this could be the year where favourite backers actually get rewarded in the Champion Chase. And just looking, 7 odds-on favourites have been beaten in the last 11 years in the Queen Mother. So it's been a bit of a punter's graveyard. But I think if we're talking about Majborough, the individual or a horse, I suppose raw ability, I don't think any of these even come close, including Marine National. I think he's just a seriously talented horse. We're talking about his jumping. Hillyway was a disaster. Yeah. There's not even a word to describe how he jumped on that occasion. But I saw enough improvement in his jumping at Christmas, even in defeat, to be encouraged. And last time he was absolutely brilliant, whether it was the cheek pieces, whether it was the aggressive ride. There's no doubt. I mean, Lizzie's talking about the shape he makes over a fence. I didn't see much wrong with how he jumped fences at the Dublin Racing Festival. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. He's loads of scope. I remember his chasing debut at Fairyhouse, and the ground was on the nicer side there, and he just bounced off the ground. So I don't think ground. His Triumph Hurdle was on heavy ground, but he's won on nice ground in the past. I think for a horse to be only beaten 3 parts of a length in an Arkle Chase last season, given the mistakes he made as a 5-year-old, arguably you could mark that performance up. And I just think his jumping with every start this season has got better. You must remember it's open company as well this year. So he's moving out of novice category into open company. On ratings, he's £5 clear at Marine National. I mean, best of luck to him now, reversing 19 lengths at Majborough, if Majborough does what he done in the Dublin Racing Festival. And I have to say, I'd be very disappointed if he regressed. If we went backwards. I think it's a crying shame already that he's only won 4 of his 7 starts over fences. And I think he's beginning to go in the right direction. We saw that at Christmas with his jumping. He didn't make very many mistakes at Christmas, if you watch it back. I think maybe one in the round. So, yeah, and speaking to someone close enough to the setup as well, they said that he's next year's horse. So I mean, that's frightening to think. He's already rated 174. So there we are. I think he'll take a lot of beating. I'll be with him.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that, but he's had 7 starts over fences. Marie National's had 9. Marie National's obviously the older horse, but he's the defending champion coming in. And yeah, John Bond made mistakes. El Faviola was he falls. He's winning these races very impressively. And it's only one day in mind for him. And it's going to be Cheltenham. So, yeah, I think Barry Connell's going to do it again, Jaime Wrenn. And I think a lot of the people who were very upset by his comments about John Bond, because how dare anybody express an opinion, have a bit of crack, are going to be very unhappy when he comes flying up that hill. But hey, maybe Majborough will take revenge for his ownership companion and give him a black eye in the Queen Mother Champion Chase. Final thoughts?
I agree. He was only having a bit of crack, and sure, everyone was talking about it. Sure, clickbait are a brilliant thing now in the world, aren't they, Emmet, at this current moment in time?
He's entitled to enjoy himself as well. I mean, he's
exactly. I agree with you totally. He's having a bit of fun.
I spent a bit of time with him yesterday afternoon.
Taking offense.
Barry Connell is an absolute gentleman. But there's one thing that becomes very clear with him. That's a man that takes no nonsense. He'll tell you exactly what he thinks.
But the funny thing about it is that, right, I think no one would take no notice of Barry Connell if he smiled. But he's staying so stone-faced that it drives people mad. Do you know what I mean? It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And I agree with him, totally. Have a bit of crack. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, I will say, if Marie National wins 12 grade ones, best luck to him. But anyway, it's so ground-dependent, in my opinion. And to be honest with you, does it look like it's ever going to stop raining?
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So I don't think you're going to get that same good ground that it was last year with the sun, and he's back for Marie National. And that's just me. And he's so dependent on it. I know he won the Supreme Good to Soft, but
no, you're right.
Good to Soft and the Supreme is way different to anything else, because it's the first race of the whole festival, right? So, in my opinion, he needs that. The only thing with Majborough is your heart's in your mouth, because Leopardstown's a galloping track. We're in like the Erca last year, and in the Champion Chase, you're constantly turning. You're turning left all the time, and that's what could catch him out. And 7-4, your heart's going to be in your mouth. I 40-1 in Quixilias. Darrow Keefe is give me a good heads up about, hopefully he'll turn up. First time out, 10-year-old of the season. I'd be delighted, but the only thing static is that any horse has turned up in the Champion Chase first time out won it. But softer the ground is Majborough. The chic pieces look like they've done the job. Marie National on better ground. Quixilias for the place. I think it's a poor Champion Chase.
Yeah, I agree with that. I apologise for laughing. They've increased the field size to make sure Constitutional gets in, boys. So can't have the Friday Night Live crowd disappointed. Don't you worry. Looking at Adam Mills putting his head in his hands like, oh my goodness.
For Daddy Longley's going to beat him anyway.
Don't forget your toothbrush too. This Friday night on ITV, featuring special guest Constitution Hill. It's going to be mad crack. Can't wait for it. Dearie me. Fun times. I'm not just taking them on because this isn't Yes No Game Show Marie National versus Majborough. This is Yes No Game Show Majborough for this particular one, and I would take him on at 7-4. If you've got him at 5-1, if you've got him at a big price, good luck to you. Gavin Lynch put him up at a very big price. If you followed him in, you're in a great spot. And I concede he's absolutely the horse they all have to beat. If he replicates that DRF performance, it's over. He was brilliant at the DRF a year ago, and he wasn't so brilliant at Cheltenham. So good luck to you if you're taking the 7-4. Yes,
it's amazing how well they jump when they have to jump.
Moving swiftly along, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank God. Thank God this podcast is sponsored by OneXBet.
Ladies and gentlemen, Barry Doyle can be heard on his excellent podcast, champ.ie, for more brilliant insight, which, by the way, is a great show, and I'll be on with Barry very soon, so make sure you're checking that show out. Okay, well, let's switch to the Ryanair Chase, shall we? Yes, no game show becomes a little bit more complicated because, well, who's going to run? And okay, let's just go with the two favourites we have, shall we? Yes, no game show, first of all, for OneXBet favourite, Fact to File, because he has to be the favourite. He hasn't been supplemented for the Gold Cup yet. So, Fact to File at even money, yes, no game show, Adam Mills.
What? Well, how do I answer this question, really? If he's going to run, the answer is absolutely yes.
Yeah.
But there's Bob Hope and no hope of him running, and surely he goes in the Gold Cup.
Yeah. I think Lizzie's kid agrees. It's like, yeah, he's an absolute stone cold certainty, but Safi's very much of the opinion he ain't going to run. Barry, Lizzie and Safi, if Fact to File was to run, yes, no, Ryanair Chase.
If he was to run, I think it's a yes.
It's the easiest yes of the week if he runs, I would say. Barry Doyle?
This one's got me now because I think yes. I think I'd probably. I mean, if I can't see both Fact to File and Gaelic Warrior going for the same race.
We'll come to that. Don't worry. Fact to File, yes or no? If he's in it,
I don't think he will be in it, but yes, if he does.
Jamie,
he's not going to run, but if he runs, he's an absolute certainty. Yeah.
Doing handstands. So this is where it becomes a little bit more complicated. Then, yes, no game show. Gaelic Warrior / John Bon. Yes or no, Gaelic Warrior, John Bon. I know Adam Mills' thoughts on John Bon, but expand, please. Yes, no game show, Gaelic Warrior for the Ryanair Chase.
Gaelic Warrior, yes. John Bon, no.
Barry.
Gaelic Warrior, yes. John Bon should go to entry over 3 miles.
Agreed. Lizzie Kelly.
What's the question?
Yes or no, Ryanair Chase, Gaelic Warrior /
What, like they're going to win, or?
Yeah, would you back the horse at even money, OneXBet, guaranteed to run?
I don't think John Bon will run, will he?
Nikki seemed pretty adamant they were going to go for it, but I'm not so sure after that clash with Pictori.
Gaelic Warrior for me. I think he'd beat John Bon.
Mm.
Is that the question?
Yeah, basically.
Okay. Yes.
Jamie Wrenn.
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind. Gaelic Warrior, if he turns up no Fact to File, he wins, yeah. But I think Gaelic Warrior is going to go in the Gold Cup. And I think if John Bon turns up with no Fact to File and then Gaelic Warrior, it's a bend down, picking it up job after beating Pictori the weekend. Yeah, John Bon will win the Ryanair.
Yeah, see, this is where it becomes a little bit confusing. Like, surely Fact to File has to go for the Gold Cup because he's just bolted up in the Irish Gold Cup.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like, exactly. You're taking the words somebody we're going to say anyway. Majborough, Queen Mother, John Bon, Ryanair, Fact to File, the Gold Cup.
Yeah, and JP, you can't possibly rely on another way you're thinking. And to be fair, we've been saying this since the beginning of the season. Don't trust that horse at all. And everything you've seen from him, he's gone. So I don't even think.
Tower.
Yeah. Met Jimmy Mangan yesterday. Yeah, absolutely. He'd be a bit of a player. Do you rely on him as your main hope?
If the ground was soft, he'd have a seriously good chance.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think we'll come to the Gold Cup in a second, but basically, if Fact to File doesn't go for the Gold Cup, then he's one of the greatest certainties to ever line up at the Cheltenham Festival for the Ryanair Chase. One of the greatest certainties of all time. As long as the horse, gamble responsibly, as long as the horse is okay. If he doesn't go, do you expect Gaelic Warrior? I mean, Patrick Mullins is pushing so hard for Gaelic Warrior to go in the Gold Cup. Do you expect Richie Rich to go for the Ryanair Chase? Vitour style all over again, Adam Mills.
Yeah, I think one of them will run, and I think Gaelic Warrior would have to be the more likely one. The year they did it with Vitour, don't forget, Vitour had a really unusual prep where they were sort of saying they were almost written him off, and then they chucked him in the last minute. I mean, in those days, you could have like 20 entries on the Sunday. It didn't matter, whereas we're a bit more strict with it now. But I do think they would have to consider running Gaelic Warrior here, because I don't really see how Gaelic Warrior can reverse the form of Factor File. Whereas I think you'd look at this Ryanair and you'd think, oh, we're better than Hartwood.
Yeah,
and
you've proven
we're
that in the
probably
John
better
Durkin.
than exactly. We're better than an aging John Bon.
Yeah,
you know what else is really in here that's a danger? The biggest dangers are running in the Gold Cup.
Well, Factifile, sorry to cut across you. Factifile smashed up Hartwood in the Ryanair last year. Gaelic Warrior has beaten Factifile in the John Durkin.
Exactly.
And they've both pulled clear of Hartwood. If Hartwood is a single figure price for the Ryanair Chase, then...
But this is where it's kind of, if you knew which one was going to run, because the likelihood is Factifile or Gaelic Warrior will run in this, and whichever one of them does will be 4 to 7.
Okay.
So it's just a case of picking.
Gaelic
and
Warrior.
if you force me, I'd have to say I think Gaelic Warrior should run in this race, because I don't think he'll win a Gold Cup, and I think he'd absolutely bolt up.
Now, very briefly, what about those who would say, hang on a second, this guy won the entry bowl last season, which proves he stays. Why shouldn't he go for a Gold Cup, Adam Mills?
The 3 miles at Aintree is flat.
Thank you.
And an entirely different race to 3 mile 2 round Cheltenham.
Thank
with
you.
If
you watch his run, sorry to interrupt, if you watch his run of John Durkin and you watch his run at the Dublin Racing Festival, I mean, how could you be even thinking about going 3 mile 2 up a hill at Cheltenham?
Yeah, that's what I think.
And if you look at Factifile as well, this year, that's I mean, we're talking about Majborough, winning what 4 from 7 over fences. What's Factifile? Is he 3 from 8? I mean, that's an even bigger shame. I think Factifile is settling better now. I always saw him as a potential Gold Cup horse. I think that's the route they have to go now, don't they? Given the fact that he's won a Ryanair last season, he's 9. And his way of racing, his style of racing this year would suggest that he deserves a go to see can he land a big one. Gaelic Warriors.
If we had this conversation before the DRF, I'd say to you, Factifile's got no chance in the Gold Cup. But on the basis of new evidence, I mean, my goodness, that was an extraordinary performance in the Irish Gold Cup.
He's still no chance in the Gold Cup.
Okay, well, you can expand on that when we get to the race. We'll hold Matt tough. We're not too far from getting to it. Just wanted to get Adam's... The reason John Bon is there is because he's just won at the weekend. We just had Nicky Henderson on the audio version of the podcast. And Adam Mills sent me a very interesting message on WhatsApp on Saturday evening. John Bon's chance... Actually, it was Sunday morning when you had all the data. John Bon's chance in the Ryanair Chase for Adam Mills is...
I just don't think so. I can't see it at all. I like my stride frequency data to look at stamina. And I think I texted to you and said, actually, when you look at his stride frequency, it's consistent over the last mile at Ascot. He's not stopping. He's just galloping on. He's galloping on. I think in hindsight, they probably left a King George behind. And if they'd have had a crack at that race 2 years ago when he was in his pomp, he would probably have won it. But I also think they should look at that and think, you know what, the way Cheltenham and Aintree fall, if we go to the bowl over 3 miles, the likelihood is everything that runs in the Gold Cup is going to swerve it because it's so close. We can get him in a rhythm. Aintree's 3 miles isn't that stiff. We know he handles the track at Aintree really well. He's won over 2.5 there. It's a penalty kick. I also think you have to bear in mind, he's produced 2. I thought he was gone. When we reviewed the Tingle Creek in December, people want to go back and watch that show. I think most of us are all in agreement. He's gone at the game. Get him in a veteran's chase. Whereas now, I think actually all it is John Bon's a bit like me. In 2 weeks' time, I'm 40. Hard to believe, I know, viewers, but I am. I used to get up at 5 in the morning to watch French racing replays. Now I need 3 coffees before I can even bear to open the laptop. And maybe that's just what John Bon was at the start of the season.
We're all 40 years, sure, Adam. We're all right, boy. You need a hug.
You know,
you need a fresh dose.
I'm so glad you said that. I was exhausted coming back from Punchestown this morning.
Exactly.
I was exhausted today. Going racing.
I know you're
and I was
older
shattered.
than us, you're older than us.
But it is that
Shut
kind
up,
of
you,
like,
David. Don't be giving that stuff away.
It's the way to realise that as well, doesn't it? Like as you're going through it.
Yeah, it does. It's then suddenly you realise and think, oh, geez, I'm going to be 40. And
You never thought you were north of 40.
But that's what John Bon is, right? John Bon is in that kind of, it took him a little while to get going, and now he's fully fit, and he's getting races run to suit. Both the Clarence House and the Ascot Chase had a front runner that got into a rhythm that stretched John Bon, and that's why he won it with stamina, not class, stamina.
He's been in with
the problem in the Ryanair
the whole time.
Yeah, I think he is. I think the problem with the Ryanair is John Bon's jumping is not the greatest. Even at Ascot, he has a habit of jumping to his left when he's in the wrong position, gets his feet wrong. He's not going to correct that at the age of 10. And in the Ryanair, I just think Gaelic Warrior, if he's in the race, which I'm assuming he is, will just get him at it. And I could see John Bond making too many mistakes, coming down the hill too far back. He's a nice bet if he ran in the Ryanair as an each way punt to nothing, because he will be in the 3. His class will get him home. But I do think he'll make mistakes. Whereas I think if they went to Aintree, there's a chance to sneak one more grade 1 out of him, and that's the better option.
Well, the betting with 1xBet in Ireland is 4-1 John Bond, non-runner, no bet. Even money about Factify. By the way, even money Factify, non-runner, no bet for the Ryanair Chase is an absolute steal. If they decide to not supplement and just go back to back, then good night and good luck. It's over. He'll win by half the track. You can get 7-4 about Gaelic Warrior, non-runner, no bet. Those prices are available for you now at 1xBet. You can click the link in the episode description. It'll take you right to the 1xBet website. Gamble responsibly, 18 plus only. Terms and conditions apply. Lizzie Kelly, if you had your choice, if Frank Berry comes to you and Paul Byrne and they say, we want your advice, what are we doing here? Are we running John Bond in the Ryanair Chase? Are we running Factifile in the Gold Cup? What do you say, and what prospects do you give them?
I probably would yes, I think that's what you'd have to do. I mean, I have just got this like slight niggle watching Gaelic Warrior be so keen at the Dublin Racing Festival of like how fast they were going, and whether they were actually going really quite slowly, and has that therefore meant that Mark Walsh has basically been able to ride Factifile to stay, when really if it were a true run race he wouldn't have stayed.
Oh, expand on that please.
Well, obviously if you're riding a horse that doesn't stay, you've got to try and keep a lid on it for as long as you possibly can. And for example, if I'm riding a 2.5 miler in a 3 mile race, if I can get half a mile of essentially doing, essentially a hat canter in the grand scheme of things when it comes to race speed, I'll take that as a jockey. I'll be like, right, great. Like I've got that half a mile, and now I can ride in a race in a tactical way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You get that half a mile for free. And I just half wonder whether that might have played a part. And then you watch how keen Gaelic Warrior was. And actually I was quite surprised when I was doing the research for today. Like actually it felt like he'd been beaten a lot further than he had. So that's like my only hang up, really. And you really do have to stay for the Gold Cup. Like, yeah, you have to stay. You have to be like a solid stayer at 3 miles. But that's just a niggle, on the grand scheme of things. Like he ran a great race, and he looked very impressive. He beat a good field. He always travelled very well. But there is just that little thought in the back of my head.
And just very briefly, it's a rescheduled race. It's run on the Monday instead of the Saturday. The ground was abysmal. Galop on the Champ is the only one to come forward from the Savills Chase. The others completely, spectacularly blow out. Not only does Affidel Fury pull up, but Aya Maximus is battered. Grange Clare West never gets into it at any point. Monty Starr travels very well for a long way, but he's beaten a long way. And the proximity of Firefox. Does all of that give you a concern about the actual seeing is believing, and seeing Factifile go and win that race made me initially go, oh my goodness, this horse is an absolute certainty for the Gold Cup. And the more I watch it back and the more the hamster runs around the wheel, the more I go, I don't know if I believe that race.
Well, that's kind of where I am with it. Obviously, I'm a massive Galopin de Champ fan, and there are clearly issues with him at the moment, or could be issues with him at the moment. But I thought it was quite unusual how he didn't travel very well from the beginning, when we know that he likes softer ground. And it just made me think either he's really gone, like, and he's over the hill and it's he's not the horse he was, which is fine, and that is a perfectly reasonable argument to make. Or the ground is so bad that a horse we know who acts well on softer ground can't handle the ground. But I mean, it's so difficult because if you're not there and you haven't walked the track, it feels like you've sort of got half the cards.
Well, you couldn't walk the track, Lizzie, because if you did, well, Jaime Wrenn tried to walk it and he ended up in down to his waist. And he just like sunk right down to the ground.
Sorry, whoa, hold on. It's not Cheltenham. In Ireland, we know how to present the track, but I don't know about, mind the trains down the UK. You're not part of Europe anymore. You're Brexit. You know what I mean? Like, mind Holgate.
You all laughed
at
me.
Lizzie.
Well, I have to say,
Yeah,
you're not laughing now, are you?
Yeah, exactly. It's not Punchestown Lake or Leopardstown, so we present the ground.
How did he manage to bring it around to that? That is...
No, I don't really know how I'm involved in that.
Yeah, it's like, how did you manage to bring it around to that? That's extraordinary.
Okay.
And I'm sure his British father is listening to this going, what the how did you do that?
British with Irish heritage.
Okay.
I will forward on your complaints.
And a gentleman, by the way. Jamie's father's an absolute gentleman. Okay. Reasons to be concerned about Vactafile overall, and we can double that into the Gold Cup now in a second as well. All right, that's the Ryanair Chase. Well, second last race. So I was going to end with the Gold Cup. Actually, it spills over. So not just related contingency, but actually just overall form is clashing as well. There's two ways of doing this. We could do Django by, yes, no. Vactafile, yes, no. On the assumption that we all pretty much agree that Vactafile is going to run. Let's go with him then. And you can throw in a bit of Django by too, because he's the other favourite currently with 1xbet for the Gold Cup. So Vactafile at 4-1 for the Gold Cup with 1xbet in Ireland. Yes, no, game show, Adam Mills.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Jamie.
Absolutely no.
Lizzie.
I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say yes because of the ability and because of how impressed I was, but there is definitely a concern there. Okay, Adam, to expand.
So I just look at this from, there's basically really only two form lines kind of merging here. There's the King George form and there's the Irish Gold Cup form. In my opinion, regardless of the ground, the Irish Gold Cup form is stronger than the King George form. And I would forgive Vactafile what happened in the King George, because that race, rather foolishly, everyone assumed Ile Francais was going to be the pacemaker. He is going to be.
He's finished.
So, and then what happened is it just became so tactical. It developed into a sprint. It didn't really suit any of them. They all had issues against it. And probably the first four home would have preferred it to be a stronger race. So I'm going to write that off. But I think because that was messy, I've got to take the Irish Gold Cup form as better. And I have to be in the opinion that maybe Mark Walsh was right. And maybe Mark Walsh has got to the bottom of Vactafile. And if he has found a new way of getting him home, I know Willie is really like, Galopin's not done yet, but I think he might be. I just didn't see enough from Galopin to make me think he can do this. The way I sort of did the pace map this morning for this race, 80 Couleurs leads, and then there's kind of a whole bunch of them who are going to be trying to sit relatively close to 80 Couleurs, but not completely on his tail. Vactafile will be switched off in that bunch, and he has got a lot of class, as he showed. You know, he's a very fair bet at sort of, if you're getting non-running O bet 7-2, I think that's quite fair, because I think if you know he's going to be supplemented and he's in this race, his most recent run is the strongest form of any of them. And 7-2, he's not 6-4, he's 7-2. 7-2 is a very good price.
Yeah, and he's 7-2 non-runner no bet with 1xbet in Ireland as well. And that's the thing that sways me to yes. Galopin Des Champs has come from the Irish Gold Cup to go and win the Gold Cup itself. Sizing John did the same thing. And he kind of reminds me of those horses in that, like, Lizzie is the founding member of the Galopin Des Champs fan club and chairman and president. Probably CEO of Galopin Des Champs Enterprises as well, for that matter. Only because she got to the meeting before me, because I'm always late. So I'm vice president, and assistant to the whatever, under secretary to Lizzie Kelly's Secretary of State, Galopin des Champs. We're both massive fans of the horse, but there was definitely a concern about his ability to actually stay the Gold Cup trip. There certainly was. There would have been the same question about Sizing John. There would have been the same question about Aplutard the first time he ran in the race. All of this is to say is that I think sometimes you can look at the Gold Cup and go, oh yeah, you really need that battle-hardened stayer. Do you? Do you really? Don't you just need the horse that has the class? And he does have it. It's a load of class. So I'm absolutely yes, for all that there is a part of me, Barry Doyle, that's being torn, going, ooh, maybe that was a bit of a silly race actually in the Irish Gold Cup. So where are you? Yes, no, expand.
Yeah, I don't think there's a horse in the race that's going to outclass him. And I thought you might have had me notes there, because I was just about to say he was more in the mould of a, dare I say, a Cato Star.
Yeah.
Maybe some people would be throwing stones at, a Sizing John, an Aplutard, that classier horse who are unproven, I suppose, beyond 3 miles. And like what Adam said just about the King George, the gap between the King George and the John Dirk, I'm not entirely sure how many days, but he probably had a harder race than Factify. He had to make up a lot of ground over 2.5 miles. So he didn't fire in the King George. The ground was obviously a lot quicker than what he faced last time. People that say he doesn't stay, I mean, he won a point-to-point on soft ground on a stiff track over 3 miles. He won a Brown Advisory over 3 miles, and he's won twice now over 3 miles. So can he stay 3 mile too? I think class is going to get him a long way in the race. His jumping is absolutely excellent. Albeit, if you actually watch back the Irish Gold Cup, the first 2 fences he wasn't his best. But I think the big thing with him this year is he seems to be switching off a little bit better.
Yeah.
Mark Walsh seems to be getting a better tune overall out of him, and we say that this season, definitely last time in the Irish Gold Cup. So just the way in which he went through the race, the way he picked it up at the right time, his jumping was brilliant. He's always gaining lengths at his fences. And I think the big thing, this is a yes-no game show at the prices, and you're looking at Factifile. What's he going to go off on the day? I mean, it's a tip in itself when they supplement. I'd imagine that the plan is to go for the race. If you're supplementing, I know the way you're thinking last season, you're surely supplementing, Factifile this year based on that fantastic performance in the Irish Gold Cup. And I think, like what Adam said, I think it's the best trial for the race this season. And yeah, I mean, if he doesn't run, the one that's the most interest to me, I think, is Django Bay. Even though he won an Arca last season over 2 miles, I still believe he's all stamina. He has it to prove as well over 3 mile too. But he seems to always do his best work at the finish. I think he's the biggest danger. Couldn't have the jukebox man with your money, Emmet. The race was run to suit last time. Just can't have that. The graduation form, I thought he was a lucky winner in truth of the King George. Haughty Calor, I think he'll be up there on the front end. He might find 1 or 2, maybe a little bit too classy. Galopin des Champs, yeah. That's the interesting one, isn't it? And he's a massive price if you still forgive him. But yeah, for me, at the price is Factifile.
I mean, expanding on it, I think Galopin des Champs is a huge player in the exotics. Like Factifile, Galopin des Champs, 1, 2. Jamie Wrenn, for you?
I can't have him at all. I really can't. No, he reminds me of the time of the Brown Advisory when he won the Brown Advisory. Who did he beat? Monty Star?
Yeah.
Sure, Monty Star is a Grand National horse who's the biggest boat of all time, can't win races. That I was there at the DRF, I was standing in the stand. Look, people were there, I understand that. Look, I totally agree with what Lizzie Kelly is saying. Patrick Mullins was at pains to keep Gaelic Wire under a lid on very bottomless ground, right? Look, Gaelic Wire probably end up in the Ryanair, but I don't think he will, because I think they're going on the fact that they went fast last year in the entry bowl with Stage Terror and Grey Dawning. He outstayed the whole lot of it. I think the quicker they go, I know who I'll be backing in front of. If you give me a match bet now, Emmet, and if they go quick in the Gold Cup, I know Gaelic Wire is going to finish in front of Factify all day long. If they go quick in the Gold Cup, Factify won't be in the first 5. That was an absolute crawl at the Dublin Racing Festival. It was the same when he won the Browsing Advisory. There's no hope. Like, people have short memories. I don't care what William Munn says. That horse doesn't stay 3 mile 2 in a barn. So not a hope. If they go really quick, not a country mile. Not a hope. He got away with it at DRS.
Clip this one up, Emmet.
Yeah. No chance. Unless they go like, Jesus, like if I did a 5K run in the morning, like, I'd be so slow at it. That's how the only reason Factify will win a Gold Cup. There's no hope he'll win a Gold Cup. Not a hope. No chance. Like I had the video, right? Do you remember now years ago when Gallopin Deschamps wins Irish Gold Cups and he won 2.5 mile of us? He was down at the second fence at Leopardstown. Factify crawled over the line at the Dublin Race Fest. I have the video. He correct, Lizzie. Thank you for going. I 100%. No chance in the Gold Cup. Come on, lads. Like, like short memories. Exactly. You just have to put a nail on it before it. I couldn't have him before the Gold Cup. He should be in the Ryanair. He's not. He's no chance in the Gold Cup. Not a hope. And I hope I'm right, because it's getting boring now with the supplementation.
Do you know what really frustrates me with Jaime Wrenn? You know what really, really annoys me with Jaime Wrenn, actually? He'll never just give you his honest opinion. He'll never just come out and say it. He always has to dance around it and pussyfoot around. Oh, be nice to everybody.
How do you mean pussyfoot around it? No, hello, neighbour.
Will you ever just tell us what you really think, Jamie?
Do you remember that other pod you said last year, to be questioners, the biggest certainty of all time, they are Bartlett? And I told you that wouldn't win either. Go away now, boy. Don't be lying, you half a Cork man.
Yeah, she came close.
I had a primary school teacher, he was from Kerry, and he was fiery as well. Hamish Beaton, if you're listening. You're not too dissimilar.
Kerry knows the big.
Where's your duster? Where's your duster?
There's no way that man is as strong and bullish in his opinions and as eloquent with his views as Jaime Wrenn is. I'll tell you that's made me have a very, very careful second opinion about Factify for the Gold Cup. Lizzie, just to expand on this, so the King George form is fascinating. The line from Willie Mullins seemed to be he thought the ground was too fast at Kempton, and maybe, I think Jamie's right, it was a harder race, and Barry's making the point too, almost certainly a harder race for Factify and the John Durkin than the Gaelic Warrior. I was there at Punchestown. He made up some savage amount of ground, and it was really disappointing he didn't go past, but I think Townend controlled it on the front end, and Gaelic Warrior comes out, runs a blinder in the King George, but doesn't quite win. Factify is a no-show. That's the point to make. Gaelic Warrior is within a nose of Banbridge and the Jukebox Man and Django by. Factify absolutely obliterates Gaelic Warrior in the Irish Gold Cup. So which of the two pieces of form is stronger with a view to the Gold Cup?
I think for me, I just worry about the distortion of the form given the ground. I understand that it's been very, very wet over here for a long time, and so we're looking at a festival which is probably just going to be run on nice soft ground, good soft ground. Whereas last year it literally didn't rain for 3-4 weeks before Cheltenham, and I mean it was getting a bit nerve-wracking about whether it was going to be too fast at Cheltenham for the festival. That's how bad, that's how dry it was. But I just got that issue. I like the King George. I think it's a really good marker, always has been, traditionally, historically, of course. And all those horses line up again. I think Django Bay's have got a lovely chance in the Gold Cup. I suppose for me, I'm not gonna lie. Like the Gold Cup for me revolves around Galopin Des Champs, and this year we're looking at the race. I'm looking at the race in the sense of, is it over for him? And I'd like to think it's not. I think if they're right, and he's just taking his time and just needing a bit more time, then he's a great price for the chance he's got, for me personally.
Okay. Overall, Who would you like to ride in the Gold Cup right now? Or who do you think is going to be, when you're commentating on TalkSport 2, when Lee and I throw to you on the Gold Cup day on TalkSport 2, who do you think is going to be flying up the hill?
I think Django Bay will very much run a really good race. Kempton's very different from Cheltenham. Jukebox Man to me was the sort of Kempton horse, suited him. Gaelic Warrior, I think, is interesting. And I think just to Jamie's point about, or many points about Factor File, is that the other thing to bear in mind is like the reason that you have to be able to stay very well is because they go so fast. Like there is literally not a moment to catch a breath. I rode a horse in the Gold Cup who wasn't good enough. He was a sort of grade 1A type horse, for 2. He wasn't a Gold Cup horse. He just wasn't. And it's amazing, isn't it, that a dual grade 1 horse can run in the Gold Cup and just be completely outclassed.
Yeah.
Like that's the level up. It is genuinely so difficult. You miss one fence and they ride so tight. It's like being in like jelly. And if you like make a mistake, it shuts and you can't get back in again. They go so quick. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with Galopin de Champs. I think Gaelic Warrior has got the class to travel very well. Like he's got that tactical speed to travel very well, which is really, really helpful in that race. And Django Bay, for me, like I would be concerned about him had he not run, as well as he has so far this season. I think he can kind of be a little bit of a horse who picks up the pieces late, which is obviously fine, and that works tactically sometimes, but you can't let them get too far away from you in that race. You do have to travel very well, and if you hit a flat spot, you're going to struggle to reel them back in. But I think it's a really decent open race, actually. I think we've got a really, really good Gold Cup this year.
Oh, it's a thrilling Gold Cup. We had 4 odds-on favourites on day 1 of the Cheltenham Festival last year, none this year, and a very open Gold Cup. I mean, Galopin de Champs was an odds-on favourite last year. He might come roaring back. He might do a Cotto Star and be only the second horse to regain his Gold Cup crown in the 101-year history of the race. But Lizzie and I are massive fans of the horse. Neither one of us would be surprised if he places. Lizzie just said he's a big player to go and win it, but could you be confident?
I hope.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's more hope.
Yeah.
It's heart over head, really.
Yes.
And the current odds make sense. Okay, of the championship races we've talked about, for yes or no, which is the horse you are most confident will not win? Which is the horse you are most confident about? And that this is now the favorite you are the most confident about taking on. And which of these horses are you the most confident will win? Adam Mills.
I'm most confident that Majborough will win, and I'm happy enough to take on the New Lion.
Barry Doyle, same question.
Same answer. Majborough to win. New Lion not to win.
Jaime Wrenn.
The New Lion to win and Factor File not to win.
Have a bit of that, boys.
In the Gold Cup.
In the Gold Cup, obviously. Yes, of course. Of course, somebody will clip that out now. Who clone? Because it wins the Ryanair Chase. Lizzie Kelly, same question. Which favourite are you most confident to take on? Which are you most confident will win?
I'm happy to take on Dino Blue, and I'm very confident that Lossiemouth will win.
Same for me.
The mares.
Lossiemouth wins the mares hurdle. I'm pretty confident that we can take on Dino Blue. I think we can get her beat. Right, that's it. You can hear full commentary of every single race from the Cheltenham Festival with Rupert Bell, who will be on the show next week, and Lizzie Kelly with myself and Lee McKenzie all week long on TalkSport 2. We may even be at Cheltenham Racecourse. Lizzie will be there all week long. Where's the good restaurant? Do you want to give that away? The good restaurant that you dine in each night before the festival? Or?
If you haven't booked it, Brasserie Blanc is the restaurant, but if you haven't booked it, you'll have to wait till next year.
Okay. Are we booked in? Are we sorted?
Sadly not. I've got this baby I've got to go and retrieve in the evenings.
So
I'm going to be driving back to Worcester, looking after baby. Yeah. Very different festival this year.
Lizzie Kelly, how could you? Putting motherhood and your family ahead of the Cheltenham Festival and racing.
Yeah. The little baby is a psychopath as well. So I really do.
Yeah, we noticed that.
Tip that no, please, Emmet, straight away.
She's an absolute...
Former jockey says her child is an absolute psycho.
You know what? The son would love to pick up on that one now.
Bring back the news of the world.
She is screaming right now. If she's not with me, she just screams. That's all she does.
So, how's the second child motherhood going?
She's terrifying, but thankfully she's gorgeous.
No,
so.
Safi's lovely. Does Safi Osborne, is she now aware of the fact that she's may very well?
No, I don't know that she was the inspiration, but no.
Lizzie, the biggest question is, would you go again?
Probably not.
Yeah, there's the big game.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure a couple of months ago you were like, oh yeah, or now like
yeah. Until this one started doing quite a lot of screaming and quite a lot of waking up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to hit that mute button, Lizzie, but that was a lot of fun. And please, God, we'll talk to you again very, very soon on the Final Furlong podcast and, of course, on TalkSport 2 as well. We're looking forward to having you back on before the Cheltenham Festival. Adam Mills, when is the next TPD content for attheraces.com?
There's a review of John Bond's performance in the Ascot Chase is out. I've also done a little piece on Forever Young for TPD, looking at the Saudi Cup victory, best dirt horse in the world. That was fantastic. And then later this week, there'll be a preview coming for the National Spirit Hurdle at Fontwell, which might be quite a short preview if the 1 to 3 favourite Cabrera de Matt.
Oh, did you just mute yourself, Adam, or get taken out? I think Adam Mills got taken out. Maybe the connections of Cabrera de Matin don't want him talking about what's happening. They obviously don't. They don't want the information coming out, Jamie Wrenn, by the sounds of things. When is the next Ginger Joe Sports Show? What have you got coming up for us?
Yeah, we just did an Ante-Post show, and handicap show was very well received. We enjoyed that. Probably a review show and probably a weekend preview and build up, obviously, to Cheltenham, hopefully soon.
Excellent stuff.
2 weeks tomorrow. Can't wait.
Adam Mills has returned. Adam, you were saying if the 3-1 on-shot Cabrera de Matin doesn't line up, it's going to be a very short preview?
It might be. Unfortunately, when you sometimes write these previews of big races, you do have to take into account that if Dan Skelton does decide to reroute Cabrera de Matin to Fontwell on Sunday, everyone else may take the view they don't want to race against Cabrera de Matin at Fontwell on Sunday. So at the moment, it looks a good race, which is why it's on the agenda. We've got Cabrera de Matin in there. Phantom of the Points was a good winner recently. Potter's Charm, Lucky Place, and there's Susan. But, but I took the view that if they took him out of Haydock, they put him in here, he's not going to Cheltenham. I don't think you'll run him in the National Spirit if you were going to turn around 3 weeks later and go to Cheltenham.
No, it's either the National Spirit or it's Cheltenham. It's one or the other. And the fact that they were going to go for Haydock, I think that probably tells you that they're not going to go to the festival either, for that matter. Adam and I were sharing notes about a weekend preview, and I said, Nikki has just told me John Bond might come out. And I was like, oh my God, it's going to be the worst Ascot Chase ever. And we got to write 1,000 words on a 3-runner race. But excellent stuff with TPD, of course, as always. And you can check out the 1xBet blog for weekend previews on my X. Barry Doyle, what is the next champ.ie podcast, and when does it come out?
Tonight. About 2 hours time, an hour and a half's time. Did you see the horse that won up at Ayr during the week? Noel Kelly, Apache Tribe. What'd you make of that?
I thought it was a good performance for Ayr, but I was more like Noel Kelly's comments made it more exciting.
Yeah.
In that his sort of post-race interview is like, well, we're going to Cheltenham, obviously. But it was, okay, fair enough. But actually, if there was more to come, ever go?
He's, I don't know. I thought he was very interesting. Horse going. Noel is the guest on the podcast. So from County Derry,
excellent.
And we have that coming out tonight. So He likes the horse. 16-1 shortest price, I think, with Boyle Sports. So that would suggest that money has been taken. So yeah, I think he's a good character. He's good for those doubles and trebles when he sends a couple over. As he said, when he loads up the horse breaks, he likes to bring more than one. So he did double and heir during the week. So good character, and really enjoyed the chat. It was something a little bit different, Emmet, because good to hear those stories. A man with a horse. I think he might have a couple, because Cave Court didn't qualify yesterday for the Pertemps, but he thought he might have needed the run at Haydock. On Saturday, I do believe he was only just back from Haydock, so that might have a couple of entries. So he could have a couple of runners, and I'd say colourful owners as well. They like to enjoy themselves. So Apache Tribe, if you want to hear about him, the podcast this week very much focuses in on Apache Tribe. So enjoy the crack with Noel.
Good man. That's what you want to hear. And owners who are good crack are the best. From Barry Doyle, Jamie Wrenn, Lizzie Kelly, Adam Mills, and me, Emmet Kennedy. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Final Furlong podcast. If you haven't already, smashed a like on it. It's much appreciated. Hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Lots more Cheltenham content coming your way. And the weekend preview team after Jamie Wrenn's 33-1 winner tipped up in the Final Furlong podcast on Friday. Barry Connell told you all about My Immortal. Did I back him? No, I didn't. But he told us the horse was well handicapped. 40-1. The horse goes and wins the One Expect Grand National Trial. Peter Michael with 5 winners on Thursday's preview show. Jamie's 5-2 nap 1, my 11-4 nap 1. Join us for the weekend preview this weekend on Thursday on all good podcast apps, audio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and of course here on YouTube as well. Look after yourself and each other. God bless.
Thanks for spending some time with us on the Final Furlong podcast. We're independent media, so if you like what we do, hit like, share, and subscribe. It's free, it's quick, and it genuinely helps. And if you enjoyed this episode, there's plenty more where that came from. Don't miss out. Subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all major platforms, and join us on the gravy train. The Final Furlong podcast, independent, unfiltered, and powered by you.